Hello, my name is Aaron Moe, and I'm the chair of the music department at Normandale Community College. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the spring concert featuring the Normandale Concert Band, Concert Choir, Vocal Ensemble, Jazz Ensemble, Jazz Combo, and a variety of small instrumental ensembles. It has been a challenging year to say the least, and we are very delighted to be able to present this much music to you today, really as a testament to the hard work and dedication of both our students and our faculty. We hope you enjoy the performance.
Hello. The first piece the concert band will play on our program tonight is a wonderful march called Brighton Beach March by American composer William P. Latham. William Latham was a highly respected American composer who taught at the University of Northern Iowa and North Texas State University in Denton. He received his bachelor's and master's degrees from the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music and his doctorate in composition from the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York. It was in 1954, while he was finishing his doctorate, that he wrote this march, Brighton Beach, which was also his first march he ever wrote for wind band. Subsequently, there were numerous marches that followed that also became very popular, but this was the first. Brighton Beach, the title of the march, is a beautiful summer resort area in England, which was also the area where William Latham served during World War II. Now, the Instrumentalist magazine ranked this march as one of the top 100 marches of all time ever written. It contains some numerous beautiful writing and some unusual scoring of the woodwind parts. And it's in the style of a British march rather than an American march. It's a slower tempo, and it has this sense of pomp and ceremony about it, reflective of some of the music of some of the British composers like Edward Elgar, Ralph Vaughan Williams, and Gustav Holst. So we hope you enjoy this Brighton Beach March by William P. Latham.
Sicut Locutus Est by Johann Sebastian Bach is a movement from Bach's larger work, the Magnificat, BWV 243, that was performed in Leipzig, Germany around 1733. One thing you'll want to listen for in this excerpt, this movement of the Magnificat, are each of the 5 voices, soprano 1 and 2, alto, tenor, and bass. The basses begin and are followed by each other independent voice. Near the end of the piece, we have this magnificent homophonic section where all voices sing at the same time for a magnificent ending.
Sicut locutus est ad Patris nostros, Abraham et Seminius in secula, sicut Abraham et Seminius in secula, sicut Abraham
The 17th century trio sonatas were generally written for 2 melodic instruments and keyboard, and with an additional 4th part that doubled the bass line of the keyboard, such as a cello or a bassoon. While J.S. Bach is credited as the composer of this G minor trio sonata, the piece has been recently attributed to his son, Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach. The first movement is performed here with flute, electronically generated guitar, piano, and bassoon.
Sicut Cervus, written by one of the most famous composers of the 16th century, Palestrina. He lived from about 1525 and died in 1594. This is one of his most famous motets, Sicut Cervus, as the deer. And the text is, as the deer longs after the water brook, so longs my soul for God. The first couple of words of Psalm 42. One of the things to listen for in this piece is the word painting on the word aquarum, which means water. So you literally see the floating notes cascade as a brook of flowing water would cascade in nature. The other word to listen for is desiderat, which means desire, as the soul desires for God. You hear that plaintive sound of wishing to continue. Sicut Cervus by Palestrina.
Sicut Cervus desiderat ad fontes
During the 15th and 16th centuries, composers utilized brass instruments in their compositions, as instruments continued to be developed and refined. Trios, quartets, and other small groups of instruments were often used for secular pieces. 3 Renaissance dances, arranged by Barton Cummings, is an example of this early instrumental style, which is based on simple melody, imitation, and strict meter.
Can You Believe It by John Bliss is a laid-back swing chart reminiscent of the Sammy Nestico years with the Count Basie Orchestra. A textbook introduction gives way to a unison saxophone section laying out the melody. The bridge of the chart features the full ensemble and block writing and at a soft dynamic, a small tip of the hat to the iconic Basie classic, Lil Darlin'. Listen for the pyramiding send-off for our soloists on this tune, Joe Mayo on tenor saxophone and Valiant Taylor on alto saxophone. Too Close for Comfort, a jazz classic by Jerry Bach, Larry Hollofsener, and George David Weiss, was written for the 1956 Broadway musical Mr. Wonderful, starring Sammy Davis Jr. It has since been recorded hundreds of times by musicians of all genres, such as Stan Getz, Harry James, Peggy Lee, Johnny Mathis, Mel Torme, and Gordon Goodwin. This short, swinging arrangement by Dave Wolpe is a driving romp through the tune, with all three wind instruments doing the work of an entire big band. After one pass through the form, Joe Mayo is featured on a tenor saxophone solo, followed by Steve Dix on trumpet, before the other horns rejoin to bring the chart to a close.
One, two, three, four.
The next piece the concert band will play is a wonderful piece by British composer Ralph Vaughan Williams called Rhosymedre. In 1920, Vaughan Williams composed 3 preludes for organ based on Welsh hymn tunes, a set that quickly established itself in the organ repertoire. Of the 3, Rhosymedre, sometimes known as the Lovely, has become the most popular. The hymn tune used in this prelude was written by a 19th century Welsh composer named John David Edwards, and is a very simple melody made up almost of scale tones and upbeat skips of a fourth. I thought it would be interesting just to listen to the hymn tune first. I'm going to play it on the piano, and I think it helps us better hear what Vaughan Williams has done with this setting with the band. So this is the original hymn tune by John David Edwards. So you can hear that it's a very simple, beautiful melody. The use of the English folk songs and hymn tunes is prevalent in the music of Vaughan Williams and Holst during the early part of the 20th century. While Rhosymedre is not an original work for band, it reflects the composer's interest in English folk songs and their use in his early compositions. I think it's interesting to know that this hymn tune is so popular in the United Kingdom. It was played for Princess Diana's funeral. It was played for the weddings of both of her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, and most recently it was played at Prince Philip's funeral. This arrangement is by Walter Beeler, who was one of the most prolific composers and arrangers of band music and instrumental method books. And he served for many years as director of bands at Ithaca College in New York. So, without further ado, Rhosymedre by Ralph Vaughan Williams.
Sing Gently is a song written by Eric Whitacre, an American composer born in 1970, who has been very successful in his past 20 or so years publishing and writing choral music. He's also famous for his virtual choirs, and he composed this piece, Sing Gently, for his sixth virtual choir, which had an amazing 17,572 singers for it, and is available on YouTube. These are some remarks that Eric Whitacre wrote in the preface of the piece. As the COVID-19 crisis began to unfold around the world, it became clear that this moment in history was going to be remembered as one of great suffering for many people, as well as a time of growing division and dissent. It seemed that the global community began to isolate physically from one another. The same kind of isolation was happening on a social level, that the very fabric of society was tearing at the seams. In that spirit, I wrote the music and words to Sing Gently with a hope that it might give some small measure of comfort for those who need it, and that it might suggest a way of living with one another that is compassionate, gentle, and kind. Sing Gently by Eric Whitacre.
Rick Lawn, composer and arranger of A Little Minor Setback, is the former director of jazz studies at the University of Texas at Austin. He holds multiple degrees from the Eastman School of Music, where he studied with, among others, Rayburn Wright, Bill Dobbins, and Chuck Mangione. A Little Minor Setback is based on a minor blues, but instead of the typical 12-measure structure, the form has been extended to 16 bars. The piece opens with an understated and relaxed small group, eventually giving way to the entire ensemble and a more driving pulse. Intensity builds as more instruments and counter melodies are introduced, creating a pinball-like polyphonic experience for the listener. A big send-off launches the solo section, which features myself on alto saxophone and Steve Dix on trumpet.
piece, This Marriage, was written by Eric Whitacre. We perform another piece of his in this program. He chose the text of a very famous medieval Persian poet. The poet is Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi, who lived from 1207 to 1273. The words of this piece begin, "May these vows and this marriage be blessed." And I have a personal attachment to the poem. It was read at my wedding. You want to listen in this very simple homophonic structure for some rhythmically complex sections, triplets, and the rhythm is pretty tricky in order to capture the essence of the English translation of this poem. One of the things to listen for is the word painting and the lengthened notes in the words clear, blue, sky. This piece is neotonal in that it uses diatonic harmony in a non-traditional way. Please enjoy This Marriage by Eric Whitacre.
May these vows and this marriage be blessed. May it be sweet milk, like wine and alcohol. May this marriage offer fruit and shade like the day palm. May this marriage be full of laughter. Every day a day in paradise. May this marriage be a sign of compassion, a seal of happiness. Here and hereafter. May this marriage have a fair face and a good name, an omen as welcomes the moonlit or clear blue sky. I am out of words to describe how spirit mingles in this marriage.
J. C. Sharuda probably lived between 1780 and 1840. The publication Trois Duos contains duets for clarinets, but only 2 of the 3 duets are available. The scores come from Amsterdam. F. J. Wayan, editor. with no date of publication. The features of the available 2 duos point to early classical style. The title page clearly indicates duos for 2 clarinets. What you will see performed is the second duo for 2 clarinets by J.C. Cerebro, probably 1780 to 1840. This movement is marked rondo and has all the features of a classical rondo: duple meter, major key, repeats of the opening theme, contrasting themes, and a short coda. What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor is a sea chanty that was performed with very good effect when there is a long line of men hauling together, says one account from 1839. The melody of the tune is in the Dorian mode and in duple meter. It has been compared to the style of a bagpipe melody.
The exceptionally popular ballad Skylark, first published in 1941 by Johnny Mercer and Hoagie Carmichael, has a long and colorful history. It is widely believed that Johnny Mercer wrote the lyrics for Skylark, drawing inspiration from the intense feelings he harbored for Judy Garland, with whom he was having a torrid affair. At the time, he was 31 and married, and she had just finished filming The Wizard of Oz at the age of 19. The song went on to garner many fans and much acclaim, which has allowed it to transcend musical genre. Much like Too Close for Comfort, it has been reimagined many times over by artists as varied as Tony Bennett, Freddie Hubbard, Kristen Chenoweth, Bob Dylan, Dexter Gordon, Aretha Franklin, Linda Ronstadt, Katie Lang, and Glenn Miller. Dave Wolpe's arrangement of this beautiful classic is a solo feature for the alto saxophone throughout. From the initial statement of the melody, followed by a section of improvisation, and finally to the end of the piece. Conrad Miska is featured as our alto saxophone soloist in this version of Skylark.
The Parting Glass is a Scottish traditional song. It's also sung in Ireland, usually in a pub or in a gathering of lots of people. It's a hospitality song offered to a guest who's leaving. This arrangement was by Troy D. Robertson for the 2019 commencement ceremonies of the University of West Florida. He also offered it on the website Cor Amor to help out those of us who are struggling with making music in the era of COVID. Special thanks to him. The text is an apt expression of good wishes to our departing singers.
Oh, the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the friends that e'er I've had, they were sorry for my going away. And of all the sweethearts that e'er I've had, they would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be with you all.
Our third and final piece that the concert band will be playing on our program is a piece called Skydance by American composer Robert Sheldon. Robert Sheldon's music is performed around the world and appears on many international concert and contest lists. With over 2 million copies of his compositions and books sold, his music continues to be very popular with performers and audiences alike. Skydance is one of his more recent pieces. It was composed in 2017. I thought I'd share with you just a couple words that the composer writes about the piece. He says, "From its opening fanfare embodying moments of heroism and pride to its joyous journey of playfulness that expresses freedom and a passion for life, the piece represents a musical celebration of the human spirit." Here is Skydance by Robert Sheldon.
First Reunion by Armando Rivera is a modern straight-eighth arrangement. Two trumpets introduce a calm and contemplative melody and are answered by a small group of saxophones and trombone with a lighter soaring response, which ushers in the rest of the ensemble. Two soloists are featured midway through the tune, Joe Mayo on tenor saxophone and Jeff Olson on trumpet. Listen later in the arrangement for two significant stepped builds, like a musical stairway leading to someplace exciting. The first build brings us to a section of new melodic fragments in the saxophones and trombones, featuring David Stanek on a drum solo throughout, and the second takes us to the conclusion of the piece. Tenor saxophonist Sonny Rollins originally wrote and recorded the 12-bar blues jazz standard Tenor Madness for his album of the same name in 1956, featuring his good friend and contemporary tenor saxophone giant, John Coltrane. This arrangement by Mark Taylor is a simple treatment of the melody, presented twice, as is common practice for jazz blues tunes, followed by a single chorus of ensemble transition into an extended solo section. A brief shout chorus concludes the solo section and takes us back to the top of the tune, where we hear the melody stated twice, just as in the beginning, before an abrupt and rhythmically punctuated conclusion. Soloists featured on this tune are Steve Dix on trumpet, myself on baritone saxophone, and Joe Mayo on tenor saxophone.
One, two,
We end with One Call Away, a pop song. In the choral world, these are called contemporary commercial pieces, with the words and music typically by a whole raft of people. In this case, Matthew Prime, Justin Franks, Charlie Puth, Brian Isaac, Maureen McDonald, and Shai Carter, arranged by Brian Sharp. It's based on a performance by Charlie Puth. Some of you might recognize this piece. While everyone does an exceptional job in the vocal ensemble performing this piece, special acknowledgement goes to our soloist, Ahmed Mohammed, who not only is the soloist, but performs the beatboxing and the tenor part. Enjoy One Call Away, based on a performance by Charlie Puth.
I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. Call me if you need me. I just wanna give you love. Come on, reaching out to you, so take a chance. No matter where you go, you know you're not alone. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. Come along with me and don't be scared. I just wanna set you free. Come on, come on, come on. You and me can make it anywhere. For now, we can stay here for a while. Cause you know, I just wanna see you smile. No matter where you go, you know you're not alone. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. And when you're weak, I'll be strong. I'm gonna keep holding on. And don't you worry, you won't be long. When you feel like hope is gone, just run into my arms. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save a day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one. I'm only one call away. I'll be there to save the day. Superman got nothing on me. I'm only one call away. I'm only one call away.
Composer Gordon Goodwin has been a mainstay in Hollywood for over 20 years, scoring music for films such as The Incredibles, Armageddon, and Star Trek Nemesis, and many others. In 2000, he formed the Big Fat Band, a professional big band that provides an outlet for his interest in jazz composition. Cerebro congolaro, translated from Spanish meaning brain freeze, is a Latin pop chart with a catchy ostinato bass line, a common musical trait of the style. This chart features different sections of the band, often bouncing from one to another, as if assembling an intricate musical jigsaw puzzle. Featured on this arrangement are solos from Valiant Taylor on alto saxophone and Steve Dix on trumpet.
This piece, sung by the concert choir, is called A Million Dreams from the musical The Greatest Showman. The music and words are by Benji Pasek and Justin Paul, and the arranger is Mac Huff. This piece from the musical is a message of hope, A Million Dreams. And I just read recently that Broadway was planning to open this September, so in a couple of short months. So along with Broadway and all of the classical music venues and all of the choirs and all of the musicians everywhere, I am waiting on bated breath for us all to open up again. You can hear some of that hope in this piece, A Million Dreams.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for
brightest colors fill my head.